Between the two, would you see a predominance, do you think, on one side or the other for the consumption of Ethernet circuits over SONET and SDH?
Well, Ethernet is largely being taken out by the enterprises. I believe the telcos will eventually turn to Ethernet as well, 10G Ethernet and even the 100G Ethernet when that comes. But telcos they have a backload of equipment that is SONET.
They have a legacy infrastructure
they have exactly the legacy infrastructure, which they need to leverage on. So they'll be much slower to move. But the enterprises absolutely they're embracing the Ethernet.
So given the dichotomy of the two, and the fact that the enterprise is actually now in a position with an aptitude level and a risk tolerance to build their own wide area, even transatlantic long-haul network, and they're already in the driver's seat with Ethernet, which is clearly more economically advantageous and more manageable from a provisioning standpoint. They're basically usurping the middleman carrier provisioning process and service, and they're essentially getting a leg up on the carriers. So even though the carriers are riding out their legacy infrastructure, their cost basis is much higher to provide the same level of service, I would imagine. How do you think that changes the landscape in, let's say, 2 to 3 years when enterprises have giggy wide area networks that are larger than some carrier networks?
Well, it's funny that you say that because we are a wholesale provider.
Yes.
But what does that mean? Does that mean that we don't deal with enterprises? I'd rather say that it means that we deal with a certain clientele that is up to a certain sophistication. And you're absolutely right. The enterprises, some of them, the big financials, they are more sophisticated than many of the ISPs or the tier 2 telcos actually.
Right.
And they are riding on a much more efficient network and cost structure than the telcos themselves. Now the telcos, they still enjoy the economy of scale. So they have the upper hand there. But it's not like they're competing with the enterprise. The enterprise is only doing this for themselves. Right. But they are doing it themselves for a reason. It's because they can do it cheaper and they want to be in control versus the telco that's providing it with the SDH equipment and a bit more expensive.